Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. We are here with Taylor Elgersma from Laurier, quarterback. Going to talk a little bit about what's going down at the Senior Bowl this year. No time yet for practice, huh? We're just starting out the week, getting ready. How was the flight in and everything?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me. So got in yesterday, met with the quarterbacks, and met with the offense. And I'm super excited to work with these guys this week. I got a great quarterback room with Dylan Gabriel and Tyler Show, and I'm excited to get after it.
Yeah, so you were here from the U Sports League in Canada, Laurier University. Just like, first off, how did you get, you have incredible college numbers. I saw them, you completed 72% of your passes, you threw for a crap ton of touchdowns. Very prolific, but you are the first quarterback from there to ever be invited down to the Senior Bowl. So what's that like? What's the process like for you to come down here?
Yeah, so I've had a bit of an interesting process to get down here. Like you said, obviously played my senior year in Canada. And then I came down here to Alabama and was training at Quarterback Country to get ready for a couple other showcases that I've been at. So I went to the College Gridiron Showcase in Texas. Then I went to the Tropical Bowl. And, basically I got those invites, played in the CGS, played well, got the Tropical Bowl invite. Played well at the Tropical Bowl. Went back home, put my bags down for 1 minute, got the call to come here. And so, it's been super exciting for me and super – fun. I enjoy being down here. This is where I want to play football. And so, getting the chance to come to the best of the best game is something that I'm super excited for.
That's awesome. So you kind of show up at the, we'll say you called in, show up at the last minute. I mean, how do you prepare yourself? And then, anytime you do something, you've got a goal for it. So, what does your goal wind up being with no time really to think about it except, I got to get on play and go?
Yeah, I think that when I think about what my goal is for this week, my goal for this week is to, show an authentic version of myself. I want to show who I am as a person, as a player to these scouts and to these teams, and I also want to showcase, what my ceiling can be. I'm not expecting myself to come here this week and be perfect. I'm playing against a level of competition that I haven't played against before, and I'm playing with players that I'm excited to go compete with and compete against. But my goal is to showcase my ceiling, showcase who I am as a player, and then showcase that I can process the game at this level. That if team wants to develop me, they can put time into me. That we're going to go somewhere special.
That's cool. So I got to ask, I have not seen any of your tape yet. I don't get into the Canadian college football. Sorry. Tell me about your offense, what kind of style you run, what you're comfortable doing.
Yeah, first of all, when you guys watch the tape, you're going to be like, whoa, there's an extra guy on the field. All these guys are running around in motion.
That's what I love about Canadian football. It's a riot.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different game, but it's super cool. So we played in a spread offense out compared to somewhere like a West Coast down here.
Okay.
We have a lot of high-level RPOs. We have we put the ball in our playmakers' hands in space a lot. That's what a lot of the Canadian game is about. We have a 65-yard wide field, and it's a lot about using formations and motions to manipulate the defense to get the ball in your playmakers' hands in space. And I compare that to the American game, and it's a lot more about matchups and leverage and tight window throws and giving your guys chances to go make plays down the field when you have a good matchup. And so, that's kind of a bit about, the Canadian game, but also that's a lot of what our offense focused on.
I've seen a lot in the American, the NFL. I've seen a lot of that motion across the backfield now that it's a throw to the Canadian League, and I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing some Canadian influence in the NFL here. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How keeping track of all that, because those play designs have to be crazy. What's it like to pick up a playbook, get through it, learn it, and understand what exactly you have to do, and then with everybody moving the reads, what's that like? Because it feels like it's got to be way exponentially more difficult.
Yeah. Obviously having the extra guy, we can get in so many more sets, and we can, freedom to move whenever we want pre-snap, allows us to, come up with some pretty cool motions and stuff like that. So I think a lot of it, I'm used to it because I've played that game my whole life. And using motions and formations is one of the main ways to manufacture yourself matchups and leverage, like we talked about. And so, it's something that's a big advantage for the offense. And so when we can, complicate it as much as possible. I think back to the Vanier Cup, and we had a motion where we take two slots on one side, motion to the other side, motion both our wideouts in, and then switch release both those slots. And all that's pre-snap, and they're all coming from 7 yards depth. So it's pretty crazy, but it makes it a nightmare on teams to want to play man to. And we got a touchdown in our national championship off that exact motion, slipping a guy to the flats off that switch release. And so, it makes teams want to play more zone, especially when you got speed guys at the slot position.
So how, you think that gives you an advantage in the American-style game in reading the defense just because you have so much more going on while you're standing there? Like you have to, that processing speed just has to be crazy.
Yeah, I think that, it definitely is going to be. I think, right now I'm still, American terminology is a bit new to me, and I'm excited that, I get the opportunity to play at a game like this at the highest level with, offensive coordinators and coaches that, are coaching the game in the NFL, and we have an NFL book, and it's been awesome for me to learn this thing. I love it. I compare it to, I spent some time in CFO training camps, two with Toronto Argonauts, one with Hamilton Tiger Cats, and those playbooks are similar to the NFL style playbooks, just in terms of terminology and concepts and stuff like that. So it's been fun for me to learn this week.
That's cool. So the Lions have a guy who they drafted last year, Giovanni Manu, from University of BC. Have you ever talked to any of the guys? Like, I know Quantez Stiggers came from that area as well. Like, do you know those guys? Have you talked with them about the adjusting?
So Quantez was in Toronto, actually, when I was in Toronto for training camp. He was balling down there in his first camp. He was a young guy. He was only, I think, 20 when he played his first season down there. It was even before he got picked up in the NFL. And so I got to spend some time with him. Giovanni, I never have actually talked to him, but I've seen his tape and I've seen him work, and he's a monster, and he was a beast at UBC. They made a Vanier Cup run the year that he was in his senior year. Him and Theo both got chances in the NFL, and they were big parts of their Vanier Cup run, and I think you can see just when you look at him, you can tell how good he is.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, we got a question from the chat. Game's on the line. You're standing there. You get to be the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. What's your favorite play to call?
Yeah. In the Canadian game, I'd line up in 41, and I'd run a diagonal, and I'd run a clear, and then I'd run some sort of a bad dig or dagger concept on the backside. In the American game, I like, seam reads from the two. If we get a one high look, I'm working seam to seam. If I'm getting a two high look, I'm working a bender down to a shallow, maybe an outside comeback. Sure. Obviously, the Canadian game, I would use a lot more motion, and I would, probably switch release 3 and 4 so we can slip a guy across the set if we get two-man. But, I'm a big, bad dig window is what I would call it, will the mic window thrower. I like throwing those, especially in, 3rd and 7 or, 3rd and got to get it situations. Look off the mic and rip it behind the Will's ear.
Sure.
So You've obviously played in the other bowls. What was the biggest adjustment that you found, or that you have to do still to adjust the American game, like at the Tropical Bowl and then the CGS?
Yeah.
Like man coverage, is that it?
Just getting adjusted to how guys run routes. With the smaller field, the angles guys break at is a little bit different than where we break in Canada. We break things a lot more skinny in Canada, and because we have all that field to just go, let it go out there and let the guy go run to space. With the more tighter man coverage or sticky coverage, it's more about, timing. And as soon as you see the break, understanding the angle that they're going to break at and putting it on them in a good spot. So that was one thing. And then also just, under center footwork, that's a lot more prevalent in the American game. The Canadian game, it's a lot more in the gun, a lot of, like I said, RPO. And so just, making sure my mechanics are sound on that. That's something that I spent a lot of time with in quarterback country. And, making sure my timing's on point. And that's going to be something that's important for me this week, especially with the pick-up in competition compared to the other showcases, is, ball's going to come out of my hand on time.
Yeah. So you're going to talk to a lot of NFL teams this week. You get the interviews. That's always, it's both stressful, but I know it's got to be exhilarating, too, to be able to do something like that. When they ask you, what is that you're going to bring to a team, what's your answer to that question?
Yeah, I think that, obviously, physically, I tell teams, you guys can evaluate my tape for yourself, and, it's not my job to sit here and tell you how good of a football player I am. My film does the talking for me there. What I want to showcase and talk to them about is, who I am as a person. I think I'm an elite level processor. I think I, see the game very well, and that's something that I've, really had success with. And you talked about the high completion percentage. That's not because of arm strength or because of any of that. That's because of pre-snap processing and understanding where I'm going to go with the ball before I get the ball in my hands. And so that's something I want to talk about. And then I also talk about leadership. Coming from a hockey background, I'm a guy who's, tough, and I think I play with my pads down and I play with passion, and that's who I am as a person. And so that's what I try and showcase the team this week.
Who's your hockey team?
Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right. Red Wings guy, right?
I figured.
We don't get to muscle up against each other as much as we used to in the old days, but they're still good matchups.
Yeah. So did you follow American football when you were growing up?
So when I was growing up and playing hockey, not that much, to be honest with you. And then when I, transitioned to football, then I was all in. And, football is all I could watch. When I was in high school, I was watching, college teams and NFL teams and CFL teams, and you know, I made that transition. I fell in love with football really fast. It was a very quick flip for me. It was fall in love, and this is my whole life. So that's
awesome.
So hockey defenseman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a big defenseman in hockey, you know, penalty killer, shot blocker, hit a lot of guys, protect our skill guys. That's who I was.
Yeah. So
Love that. This is my guy
I know,
right here.
I know you can run the ball. I saw you like. Are you a guy that's gonna like try to run through a guy? Or are you gonna? Are you like again? I haven't seen your tape, so
I'm definitely a pads down type of player. You know, I'm not making guys miss in space. I'm running with my pads down, and I'm running hard, and I'm turning out first downs. You know, being a physical runner.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Good size, too. This is awesome. Well, Taylor, I know you got a lot going on. You got a big week ahead of you. I'd love to take up all your time. It's been a lot of fun, but we only get so much, man. So thanks so much for joining us. Have a great week. Best of luck, man. Really enjoyed
good luck
talking to you today.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.